think, oh yeah.
Members of staff of the City of Bulawayo, and of course not forgetting ladies and gentlemen from the meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered this afternoon to unpack the master plan. Bulawayo has always had a master plan, an operative master plan, but our master plan has just been reviewed, and it is the new master plan that we want to present before you this afternoon. And we are also doing this, ladies and gentlemen, in pursuance to the presidential call to action, which was launched by His Excellency, the President of Zimbabwe, Comrade Iti Mnangagwa, on the 1st of November 2023, in which all local authorities are called to order to do, but among all, but among the following: one, to do the master plan, and it's a tick in the box. We have done the master plan. The valuation role, we have not completed our valuation role. We are just about to complete, and also we have to give service to the community, at the same time collect revenue in order to for us to give the service. We have tried, our collection was very bad, but I want to tell you, to date the collection has vastly improved. We are nearing the target that we set ourselves for the minister and indeed for the entire government. And then lastly, which we need to look seriously, and I know it worries you a lot, spatial planning, which include, among other things, making sure that we provide working spaces, safe working spaces for our informal traders. You know our economy is informal, and we have a lot of informal traders, and they have to be put in their rightful places. They don't have to be everywhere, anywhere, where they want. And this is the biggest challenge that we have, not only for the city, but the entire residents of the city. Let's put our heads together and make sure that we bring Bulawayo back to glory. Ladies and gentlemen, without wasting your time, let's zero in of all those areas which I indicated are contained in the call to action circular. Let's zero in on our subject of the day, which is the master plan. This master plan is going to be presented by the town planning director, Mr. Sisiwa. And Mrs. Mpofu, may I then say I have done my part, and over to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Tamre. So I invite Tamre maybe to sit this side so that don't strain your neck, and also I invite Mr. Sisiwa to continue the program. And we do have a register that's going round. Please do fill in your
Thank you, Program Director. Maybe so that at least I don't make a mistake, let me say the salutation, cut and paste, and also all protocol observed. So all what was said by Mrs. Mpofu, by the town clerk, I would say just cut and paste to what I'm saying now. Then we proceed. My name is Wisdom Siziba, as it was said earlier on, and I'm today standing here to unpack the master plan. Unpacking the master plan is also can be referred to as popularizing the master plan, because the master plan doesn't belong to the City of Bulawayo. It belongs to you, the stakeholders. It belongs to the people in Zimbabwe. It belongs to the people, the whole world the master plan is for them. So that at least we have this master plan, we unpack it, so that at least we implement it. Because once the master plan has been done, it has to be implemented. As was said earlier on, to say, it was the call by His Excellency to say, let's have all areas covered by the master plan and by master plans. So also us included. So by the time it came, as you heard, that there's already a tick in the box. We had already done our master plan. We're just awaiting for its approval. And our master plan has been approved. It has been gazetted and is now operative. Bulawayo Master Plan. The Bulawayo Master Plan is a strategic urban planning document that outlines the long-term vision for the development and the growth of the city. It projects future development land requirements, identify and reserve adequate land to meet the various needs, housing, commercial, social, cultural, recreational, as well as the infrastructure needs. They are also there in the master plan. The master plan is there also to create order. We need order in the city, like was alluded earlier on by the town clerk, that at least we have the spatial plan now, but what is on the ground is not yet talking to the spatial plan, picking to the informal sector. And I think also our master plan talks to the economy. So we say informality is the road to formality. We have to develop that to get to where we want. Maybe we want, because this we have to say it. City of Bulawayo prepared its first master plan in 1980 and was approved in 1980. And we're the first city in the country to have an operative master plan. And we're always the first, and also, well, maybe now we're almost there, because our master plan is operative. Some are still trying to get their master plan approved, but we've got our own that is operative now. And the master plans, they bring order, and they make the cities predictable, and they make it attractive to the investors. Because we hope once the investors know that the city is predictable, it becomes attractive. And we hope by having the plan, we should be able to attract investors. Investors outside, invest outside Zimbabwe, within Zimbabwe, and investors who are in this room at the moment. We hope once you see this master plan, you take Bulawayo very serious. Then we pick it that way. The first master plan was reviewed in year 2000. An operational period was 15 years. It became operative on 25 June 2004. The current operative master plan was approved on 22 April 2024. It was gazetted on 24 May 2024, and the master plan became operative on the 5th of July 2024. So we've got an operative master plan. So we went through the road, which is in the Regional Town and Country Planning Act, where we had to go through all the steps, because our master plan is legally compliant. It went through all the processes, taking from the inception, moving to the report of study, where we did a study. Thereafter, the study was, consultations were done to the stockholders, to council, and also to the world, to say, here is the master plan that we want to do. This is what we have got. So where are we moving to? After the report of study, we went to do the written statement. The written statement also, after doing those proposals, we went through also all the processes, so that we went through consultations which we're having in this room as well as the large city hall, to make sure that at least all people in Bulawayo, all people everywhere are consulted, because everyone is a stakeholder in a master plan. Objectives of the master plan: to provide the City of Bulawayo with a tool for guidance and control of developments within the planning area. So it is a tool. So when the town clerk was referring to the informal sector, the vendors, the commuter omnibuses, the master plan, one of the thematic areas, provides us to do policies that will guide and tame the jungle that we are having at the moment. to provide spatial framework by which central government and the city council can establish priorities and draw up estimates of funds that will be required for the provision of social, physical, community facilities and the infrastructure. The master plan is a negotiating platform between an investor and the property owner. The property owner might not be city council, but anyone who has got property, because the master plan creates a value, and from that value, that's when these two can meet. So the Bulawayo City Council, using this master plan, is creating that platform for the meeting so that at least it can be implemented. So the implementation of the master plan is not an event, but it's a process, because it can be, while we are seated here, some who have taken advantage of the master plan, they are already implementing it. They are negotiating for the future. I will just give an example of local plan number 16 that we also have, that was also gazetted when we are moving using Hillside Road. Some of the properties were rezoned. When you pass through there, you can see some activities that without the involvement of council, people are already implementing that plan. That's what we say the master plan must be done. And the master plan looks at the systems of the city, where we've got residential, we've got industrial, we've got commercial, we've got roads, we've got open spaces. So we try to put together all those subsystems to form that system so that all is protected. To promote the rational use of land while at the same time balancing the requirements of developing the physical environment and the need to safeguard and protect the natural environment in order to ensure sustainable developments. Land is competing, the land uses, they are competing. You find the residential want to be there, industry want to be there, commerce want to be there. So the master plan will just try to make sure that they give each other a chance. I hope you understand what I'm saying, that at least the residential might be trying to move to the industry trying to move to residential, commercial trying to move to the residential. Like an example of suburbs, you can see that at least the commerce is slowly inverting. We're supposed to control, which is part of the tool to control. But when you control, you have also to formulate some strategies. Hence, we're looking at local subject plan 19 at the moment, which is on public exhibition now, so that for 60 days, so that we comment on it and see that it happens. Because, I mean, the elementary geography that we had, that certain things that happen, the other one will just be pushing, but the most powerful will remain. So these things, they take the natural happening. Provide technical and professional information to the political decision-making process in order to aid informed decisions regarding the physical development of the planning area. So this is the tool, the master plan, to provide the political decision makers so that at least we move to that direction. To provide the city council and other development agencies with a set of policies designed to assist in the orderly, attractive, and harmonious development of the city. All those the development agencies who are interested in the city and also to make the city attractive, they have to use the master plan. Because the master plan that we'll be having, it makes things pretty. You can close your eyes and imagine how the city will look like in 20 years. So that's how this is working, so that at least it's predictable. There is nowhere you can find maybe a turning industry next to City Hall here at any other time, because these things are written and is predictable. To project future land requirements, identify and reserve land to meet housing, employment, social, cultural, recreation and sporting requirements within the constraints and the opportunities identified. So this one, what happens, the master plan, when they are doing the study, we look at what are the gaps, what are the opportunities that are there, where can we find the land, because the city has to grow. First, we look at the land within the city. Then we look at the land that is outside the city to say, how are we going to grow? Though we want to avoid urban sprawl, so that the urban just sprawls outside. So we've got a policy of densification that we have. And that policy, the master plan, is done in line with those government policies like the settlement policy that we have got at the moment. So it was streamlined in this master plan. Hence, most of the layouts that we have done, 40% is reserved for flats or high-rise buildings in the residential areas, so that at least we have a compact city. Though we don't rule out expanding outside, but we don't want urban sprawl, because we don't want to eat also in the farming land. And maybe let me also, still on that one, to say, at least we identified some areas that we require in the future outside our boundaries. And applications were made for incorporation, but they have not been, it's not yet there. But there are also people who have applied, the property owners, for voluntary incorporation, which also some of those processes are being looked at. But you see that our master plan will not only cover the areas that are within our boundary, but even outside our boundaries, because we might not be interested in those areas, but they are to our interest. Because once there is order in the periphery, then it means the city can sit down and relax. Because our population now is about 650,000, but during the day, it can go up to more than 1 million or 1 million people. Some are coming from the outside. This is their city, and they need the services from the city as well. Provide the basis for stimulating the local economy and thus help create jobs. And this one we're doing through policies, we're doing it through the local plans, like we're working on the industry local plan number 8, where maybe the minimum subdivisions were very high, 4,000 or so, but now we are reviewing that so that the minimum subdivision is reduced, so that at least people can subdivide, because the demands of the industries of today is different from the demands of the industries of yesteryears. Provide an efficient management framework to get all these objectives done, so that at least we round them. We need an efficient management framework that is going to run with the master plan and run with other instruments that council is using. This is the hierarchy of plans. We've got a master plan, which we are unpacking today. It gives broad guidelines on the development and growth of the city. That's the master plan. And the master plan consists of a written statement, a report of study, which are these documents. Then we have got a map, which is a third document of the master plan. Then local development plans, detailed spatial land use plans giving development guidelines on specified portions of a master plan. That if we've got a master plan which is like that, we divide it to say that we've got the western areas covered by local plan number 1, the other areas covered by other local plans as well, which are detailed, and we continuously review those. And once we review those, but if we identify there's also a specific subject that needs to be attended to, then we go to the local subject plans, which we are doing a number at the moment. We're working also on the suburbs, which I said earlier on, and we also do the layout plans. The layout plans are those where we have got a layout now to say this is residential, this is a road, we're going to have this and so forth, where we've got the standards that would have to be followed there. Then master plan preparation process, well, I've just mentioned this. We have an inception report of study, written statement, went through public exhibition, whereby after doing the master plan, I want to emphasize this. After doing the master plan, it was adopted by council, then we took it for public exhibition for 60 days and advertised that extensively, so that those that have got interest, the stakeholders, could have some comments or objections or comment the master plan. So we went through that process. Then after that, it was submitted to the minister for approval. When it was approved by the minister, we took it now for gazetting, and also we had to wait for some time to say those that want to make objections, can you do so? So you can see how extensive this consultation is. This is the master plan. This is the map of Bulawayo. like I said earlier on, it constitutes the areas that are within the city and the areas that are outside. The yellow zone, the yellow colors is residential. Then we've got the purple, which is industry. Then we've got also commerce, which is part of the subsystem of the city. So this is our map for the city of Bulawayo, showing the zones that we have got. Then master plan development goals that we have to ensure the availability of suitable land to meet the future needs of Bulawayo until 2034, to establish a strong and sustainable local economic base in Bulawayo, to ensure that provision is made for adequate social and community facilities to meet the city's needs during the plan period. Maybe just to emphasize that all these would have to be done by yourselves and those that are not here today. The Bulawayo City Council is there to provide enabling environment and to guide so that you can meet those goals. To make provision for efficient transportation system that meets the needs of the people during the plan period. That one is critical because that's the jungle that we're saying we need to tame outside there. Where we have also a thematic area that deals with that we need to do a public transport policy, which it is now in place, and we need to sign the service level agreement, and we're saying we wanted to remove competition. So we assign each company or each association certain area that you work on this in this area, and that service level agreement, if maybe there is a challenge, then we pick it up from there, then we deal with you in terms of that service level agreement, so that we don't have what we call when you're going to Country Park, Emma border. The other one just picks the commuters from here to another place, leaves them, then another commuter omnibus picks them up. But we want now to have that orderly thing. And we're saying, in terms of this master plan, this is not an end, the commuter omnibuses that we see. We expect these companies to move from here to mass public transport, to move to conventional buses, and maybe in the long run to move to tram trains, so that at least we've got mass public and reduce the congestion that we have at the moment. To provide sustainable physical infrastructure to facilitate social and economic development. This is critical because as the city grows, because sometimes people say, I want a stand, I want this, but they don't think about what supports that. Because we need water, we need sewer, we need roads. That's the infrastructure that is required. So these things must go together. Because without the necessary infrastructure, we would be creating slums, which we don't want. So this policy that we have is not for slums, but to say they have to go together, the infrastructure as well as these other subsystems of the city. To develop Bulawayo into an environmentally conscious, environmentally sustainable city, is conscious of the environment, the master plan, where the wetland map that we have, the maps that were done, they were streamlined. As you can see that there are some green there, they were superimposed on our map, so that at least we manage the environment using this map, and also the local plans that we do also are streamlined in that. And also we will see as we talk of the projects that are to come, some are related to environment, where we're talking of the of Ingozi mine, that it should not remain like that. We should move a step forward. To establish a forward-thinking management for Bulawayo with adequate resources to meet the development needs of the city. So the city, in terms of Goal 7, has also a very big role to play that we have to meet somewhere. The investors, the people of Bulawayo, and the city have to meet somewhere so that we take the city to another level. Let's move on now to the implementation matrix. These are the master plan development projects, the major projects that we are looking at as Bulawayo. We look at the redevelopment of the major transport termini, Egodini, and Renkini. We're looking at redevelopment of Makokoba and Ascot Racecourse. So the Makokoba, we're now moving to get a local subject plan as well as a strategy to say, how do we move? Because it's a big project, you cannot just go and deploy Makokoba. There are people who are living there, so we need a document to guide. And the Ascot Racecourse, we are currently working on a local subject plan because we need to plan these things so that we don't just go and develop. The construction of a sanitary landfill, it has to be done during the plan period. Construction of proposed new roads, because as this master plan has got a number of master plan road proposals, which we call the 211 series proposals, where we've got inner ring roads, outer ring roads within the city. So we're saying, we're planning for the future to say, in the future, we should not have congestion. People should have a choice to move. So those alignments are there, and we're saying some of those roads would have to be developed during the plan period. An example being the Country Park corridor. It has to link, because all those people going to Country Park don't necessarily to go through Luveve Road. We are congesting, but they can go through the Country Park corridor, and it will unlock some of the industrial developments that we have in the northwestern commonage once the Country Park corridor is in place. So there are a number of major roads that we need developed, and some roads will need widening as we move. Construction of an integrated sports complex, we expect this to happen within the plan period. We've got an integrated sports complex, a site that was identified by the master plan in Country Park. So we're saying, let not the sports be only in the CBD or the city center or the other side, but let's take it also to where they are required. Construction of truck stops, because the trucks are all over the city, most of the time they come anyway. So we need those truck stops to be constructed so that at least is assisted on that area. Development of major commercial nodes, business parks, and so forth. That's what the master plan is saying. Development and upgrading of waterworks and sewer treatment works. As I said earlier on, that these things would have to move together. For any development to happen, servicing or infrastructure has to be there. And all these, what I'm highlighting, are calling for the investors to come in and pick up these projects and implement them. That's how Bulawayo has to be developed. We won't expect the city to do all these projects. And even if they are doing the projects, they have to be done together with the business. Developments along the major activity corridors, like the local subject plan 19, which I referred to earlier on, development of primary and secondary schools, development of clinics, hospitals, and police stations, development of major residential and industrial establishments. We have got also industrial areas that we have planned, and we expect them to be developed. Then the layout plans, the land available. Maybe these are the hanging fruits, some of the things that we have. We've got Umvimila integrated layout, 247 industrial stands, and 639 residential stands in Umvimila there. Hence the need for the Country Park corridor and the off-site infrastructure in that area, so that at least that is picked up. The node to tracks phase 2 comprises of 1,500 high-density residential stands, High Mount phase 2, 350 low-density stands, Kilani East, 840 low-density stands. And within those, 40% are for flats and high-rise buildings. So as to tame the urban sprawl and move in line with the human settlement, with the Zimbabwe human settlement policy. Then we've got some layouts that are still with the ministry for approval. The BT of Bellevue, approximately 900 low-density stands. The RIE of Mkanuni phase 3, approximately 2,000 low-density stands. That's what we have as the layouts. But we are also working on other layouts that we have at the moment, base mapping, and we have got subdivision D of Raygate, approximately 1,000 medium density stands. And we also have the Hyde Park estate, approximately we're looking at about 20,000 stands. They might not be, all of them might not be done within the plan period, but That's where we have to start moving, doing the layouts and so forth, and the servicing happening, and also the infrastructure now, it has to be ready for that, to take those things, so that at least we don't create slums. Then the statutory plans under preparation, we've got local subject plan 19, the suburbs, Kumalo and Parklands area. This local subject plan, we expect it to unlock developments, and unlock is part of land delivery that we have got. Because we don't only deliver what belongs to council, but we deliver also what belongs to individuals. Like the certain areas will be rezoned. Once maybe your place is rezoned, then because we don't bluff like zone to lower value, but we pick the value so that at least you can also enjoy that value that is there. Local Development Plan 8, review of the industrial, I mentioned earlier on. Then Local Subject Plan 18, report of study being prepared. Then Local Development Plan 12, report of study being prepared. Maybe the Local Subject Plan 18 is very critical as well, because we're looking at the 4th Avenue going that side, what they call the downtown. So we're working on a local subject plan, because some areas there were zoned residential. So we want to unlock and zone those commercial, and also of interest to the people of Bulawayo there. There is Ingwala site there. So it would have to be covered, so that at least it is developed maybe in a theme that symbolizes Ingwala, and so that at least we pick on some tourists for that area. There are other places where they are still doing that area. You've seen they would have been developed, like Gwanongoma and the other places. We've got those happening. So on that one, we've started doing some consultations. We invited chiefs from all over Matewaland and the Midlands. Then they were here. I think we've met them twice, but we still to consult yourselves and so forth to say, what do we want to be there? Do you want that open space where trucks come and park, or we want something different? That's what we are saying. Then these are the projects. They repeat what I said earlier on, the project for the plan period, but these ones now will be phasing them. We've got, what we need to do is identification of vacant land within the municipal boundary and preparation of detailed layouts. That's in my earlier slide, it was talking of those where we are doing layouts, we're identifying those pieces of land to do the layouts. Construction of the main bus terminus, upgrading of water and sewer infrastructure. We need to upgrade water and sewer infrastructure so that it can talk to these subsystems, and we need also to have water, and also this master plan is also linked to the water that the city must get from the Gwai Shangani, as well as other sources that have been highlighted, because that talk to the infrastructure. And for us to do all these things, we need the water, we need the sewer, we need the roads, all those things. Provision of a new cemetery site. So we're saying within 2021 and 2026, we need to get a new site, cemetery site, because Umvucha is fast filling. So we've identified some pieces of land where we want to establish some a cemetery there, and it is another place is also up there in Umvucha, which is council owned, and the other one which is privately owned. So we'll negotiate so that at least we are able to provide those during the plan period. Construction of primary and secondary schools in the city built up areas. This is ongoing. You see it, we are saying every time or every phase there must be construction, because as we construct housing, this social infrastructure will have to be done, because a house might be just a structure, but the housing is it, and a bundle of services around it, which include the schools, the playing area, and so forth, and maybe commuter omnibuses as well. Then construction of clinics, roads upgrading, encouraging subdivisions. These come from the private landowners who own their own land and they've got title. So once we put these policies, then we give them a platform to do subdivisions, so that they also augment council's efforts in providing houses. We see the non-dwelling in the northern areas, the number of cells that have been produced, they will be also implementing the master plan. And once maybe we have done a local subject plan or a master plan, a local plan, like if there were 4,000, this area was 4,000, the minimum was 4,000 square meters, we reduce that maybe to 2,000, 1,000. Then the people who are there, the property owners, will have now the opportunity to subdivide, and their land it will have value and become an investment. And also encourage them also to do the townhouses and so forth. Gazetting of the new boundary for the city. We expect also to get a new boundary for the city 2021, 2026. We're referring to the applications that we made, and also we're referring to those that have come in through voluntary incorporation. Voluntary incorporation is not a new phenomenon or a new thing. We've got some in Rangemore who went through that process, and we have got them incorporated, and they are now part of Bulawayo through voluntary incorporation. Because once they are there, then they have to be gazetted, and at least it forms part of Bulawayo. Then the urban design scheme for business, for commercial and business parks, this talks to the local subject plan number 18 for the downtown. Urban design for the CPD would contribute to keeping existing businesses in the area and attracting new investment to the CPD. The urban design scheme will ensure improvements in the quality of the character of the area. The CPD is key location for densification. So if we look at our local plan number 4 for the CPD, we have got the bulk factor and so forth, and also the minimum number of stories that people have to provide. But at times it becomes very difficult, but we still emphasize that we expect people to go maybe up to 6 stories and so forth. That is provided. Servicing of proposed new development areas, those are some of the things that we need to do. Upgrading of waterworks, that is a must, so that at least it talks to those other areas, because the other subsystems talk to that. The upgrading of sewer treatment plants, that also is part of the projects that have to be done. Then the 2027, 2032, we've got the preparation of detailed layouts. These are ongoing and they would have to be done. Construction of a new sanitary landfill. So we're saying the construction is a carryover from the other phase. Moving on. Surveying, demarcation, service of Umvumila industrial area. That's the one that we've got the other side. Construction of primary schools in the new built-up areas, as well as secondary schools, clinics, and the roads upgrading. Then this is the end of the plan period, where the preparation of detailed layouts would have to be done, and you can see some of the things are the same as those that are being done the other side, because there is a process. Then these are the strategies recommended for implementation of the master plan, formulating effective development control strategies to ensure that the plan proposals are effectively implemented. Once we have got this, we now have this master plan, which is operative. We're now working on local plans, which are part of the strategies and the tools for development control, and the local subject plans that we are working on at the moment, and also doing the policies and also improving the policies as we move, because the policies are not cast on stone. Once we have done it, there will come a time where we have to review it if it's no longer responsive to the dictates. Strengthening technical and administrative capacities of local authority and central government, as well as parastatals that will be involved in the implementation of the master plan. This calls for improvements in personal capacities, both technically and administratively. So it's calling that we are moving towards a smart city. So we must have those capacities and capabilities to take the city to that level, because it doesn't, the knowledge that one got from school in the yesteryears might not be relevant for now. So we need to pick up what is happening in the developed countries. Ensuring that the private sector sees itself as partners with the public sector in the development process. So what we are doing now, the popularizing, the unpacking, is to make sure that the private sector, you see yourself as part of this master plan. And you must implement this master plan. Council is there to provide enabling environment. And also we can hear from you to say, we have this, maybe the ease of doing business, how can it be done, and so forth. We'll be picking from each other. Then improve community level participation in the development of the city. Improve.
Robert J. Ncube, siyabonga. We'll continue. We've started the presentation of the master plan. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, madam. Improve community level participation in the development of the city through improvements in operations of the local level structures. A close working relationship with civic society organization will improve the overall oversight, not obviate the supervisory and advisory roles of public officers in the plan implementation process. So most of these strategies are calling for cooperation, government, business, council, the civic society, so as to implement the master plan. So the master plan must be owned by all body. Everyone must own the master plan and implement it. So this master plan, as we see it, it must be an opportunity. And that opportunity that we must really move with that opportunity. And I said, as we present the master plan, we are presenting to the world. Everybody is looking at all these opportunities. Even these projects that I was saying, we have got them for the plan period. Everybody is looking at them. So let's get to the cake. Then the financial strategies for implementation of the master plan. What are the financial strategies? Because it's very critical. Yes, we have got the plan, but how do we finance it? How do we finance the plan? Where there is a plan, money will come. Budget provisions for capital projects. We're saying council should make a budget provision for capital projects. We are talking of those roads, we're talking of the sewer, we're talking of water. All those, council must have capital budgets for those projects. Grants, technical assistance, bilateral cooperation programs, all those are potential strategies where we have received a number of grants pertaining to water. We're saying, let's get more of those, because once we get water there, then other developments will follow, employment will come. Then the loans, the World Bank, some of the areas in the city were built through the loans from the World Bank, local commercial banks, pension funds, insurance companies, as well maybe the municipal bonds. We have to think about those to say they should be part of the financing strategy for the plan. The public-private partnerships, these have to come in, because we have got, once we have got these, then we might need just an enabling environment. Then they will come in with resources, then we pick up from there. Because those projects that I outlined earlier on, you see that we're saying we've got this to be done, that to be done. But who's going to do it? Me and you, yourselves, we have to get that done. Own funds, council revenue and private sector investments. So we're saying, as council, like the town clerk was saying earlier on, that there's some improvements in revenue collection. So it should also talk to the improvements of taking these monies to the implementation of the master plan. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to our Director of Town Planning, Mr. Siziba. Siyabonga, thank you for unpacking the master plan. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll continue with our program where we'll discuss what has been produced or what has been presented as we plan a city on the move, the City of Bulawayo. I'll invite, maybe we can keep our VIPs that side. Town Clerk, would you like to come this side to be right corner? Yes, may I invite our distinguished minister as well as our town clerk, who could please come this side as we have our dialogue. Let's welcome our minister. Simshayeleni izandla umama. Abagojeni. Siyabonga. As they take their seats, Councillor Neta. I'm sure what you are. Oh, now. 1, 2. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome those that came when we had started. For our conveniences, if you go outside the exit door, there are doors just before you exit the building. For our plenary session, we will invite your contribution, your comments, your observation.
Before that, sorry to intervene the regular proceedings. I am compelled to invite His Honorable Minister just to greet him before we start the plenary session. Honorable Minister, over to you.
Sanibonani Bulawayo. Sanibonani banikazi bendawo. Indaba kuvuma bangu-4. Ngiyabonga TC. Ngithanda ukuthi ngiphe inhlonipho yami uthungameli bedolobho leli nama-managers ethunganyelwa ngubaba uThanghlaka. Ngiyananzelela kule senior government officers here lokuthungameli bezakhamizi lathi sonke. I just want to say angidelelana beyilo mhlangano oqhakathekile owezibhedlela nama-clinics ethu lapha koBulawayo. Wasuphuza ukuphela ngenxa yezinto eziqakathekileyo okumele sizibambe njengoBulawayo. Ngikho ngimbone kufanele ukuthi lanxa sengiphuzile kodwa ngilijoyine ngenxa yomsebenzi lo esinawo oqakathekileyo. This is very critical because currently our boundaries are not in order. We need to look into our boundaries. What are we saying ngoBulawayo? Sifuna benjani uBulawayo from now going forward? I'm happy I got the last part, but the local authority isiphile unye lama-CHOC members, they made a presentation to us ukuthi sihambeni sonke bantu bakoBulawayo sinyatheleni kanye kanye ngoba sikhuluma ngento eyodwa eyiBulawayo. Ngiyabonga TC.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Thank you, our Town Clerk, Mr. Dube. Siyabonga. Ladies and gentlemen, we may continue. I'm sure you have 1 or 2 things that you've observed or that you are concerned about or that you already see yourself as being part of. So we'll invite your comments, observations, and our roving mic gentleman will be assisting us. Nyabo. We can gladly lift up our hands as we continue. Siyabo. Please do mention your name and where you are coming from so that we capture your comments appropriately.
Good afternoon. Engineer Kagan Shara from CTPC. Looking at your master plan, then I can see that there is
Sorry, please speak up, sir. If you could start from scratch, maybe bring the microphone closer.
I can say that I'm Engineer Kagan Shara from CTPC. I've looked at the master plan, and I will say that the connection between our power line that is the network in Bulawayo and CC master plan. I'm actually concerned on our big primary substations, like as it is about to construct radio substation in Bundane. Our 88 electrical substations and power lines, they need a deep corridor. We've actually gone up to Bundane, and we find that, as far as I'm concerned, we need our service to be continuous with the City of Bulawayo. So we need our power lines to be in a ring circuit. You find that for Bundane substation, when you want to connect, it becomes very difficult getting the corridor when you connect that big substation. I don't know how we can actually work together so that our master plan for Bulawayo is ZPTC is actually married to the master plan BCC. That's my very big concern.
Okay, Siyabonga, thank you. So we'll take about 2 more, then we'll respond. Thank you for that contribution. Ladies and gentlemen, okay, as you still consider your questions, maybe I'll ask our town clerk.
Okay. Before I ask Mr. Siziba to really talk to the question that has been answered by the engineer there to say the master plan does accommodate them the way they would want it in terms of their power line servitudes. Yes, if that happens, my brother, it is unfortunate because the master plan should include all stakeholders, and as ZETDC, you are a major stakeholder. You cannot be ignored when it comes to this development and the planning policies. And if that has happened and there is need for a revision, we can revisit some of these planning tools that we have put in place, because they are not cast in stone. And the master plan is normally reviewed after about 15 years. But it doesn't follow to say that we cannot review other sections of the master plan mid-term. Siziba, before you respond to this question professionally and in terms of town planning tools, I have listened to your presentations, and you have emphasized in these presentations that we are a planning authority. We don't only plan for municipal land, we also plan for state land, we also plan for private land. I know in most cases, stakeholders, when they think of land, they think of land that belongs to council. All the land is planned for by council, so that should you want any development in a certain area, think of these 3 areas of land owners: the council, state, and then private owners. Thank you, Mr. Siziba. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Engineer, for that concern. Maybe to allay the fears, the master plan take into consideration all the servitudes, the ZESA servitudes that we have. Because if we are doing this master plan, or once we are also doing even a layout, we work together with the ZESA, we consult them, we pick up their planned servitudes. And normally your planned servitudes, we have got them, then we streamline. You might not see them there, but when you look at our legends there, we have got it, because this is the scale maybe. We have got the ZESA servitudes that are there. And not so long, you will recall that we had the RE of Mkanwini, whereby the unplanned, where we had the ZESA servitude that was required, and the city council provided that ZESA servitude. And maybe I call upon yourself to say, if you have got other planned ZESA servitudes within Bulawayo, and the norm has always been, you submit them, then we provide them there. And when I was talking of infrastructure, ZESA is included, and Tail 1 is included, and all others are included, and they are taken into consideration. The Mbundane issue, maybe we'll look at it, though it's slightly outside our boundary. But since we have planned also for these areas, I think we can look at those together.
Thank you, Mr. Sisiva. We'll continue the program. I see two hands. There's a lady there. If you have your hand, if you also want to say something, then you can indicate. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Engineer Monson from Zintan. My first question is regarding states. We see a lot of states and areas being developed, and after they're developed, the actual construction is on the slow side. Is it possible to reduce the price of the states so that construction can speed up a bit? We have a lot of areas that have been opened up, but the actual construction is very slow. And partly related to that is on the population of Bulawayo. Is there a plan to grow it? It's been at 600 for forever. Thank you.
Thank you. I think in terms of population growth, that responsibility to be all of us. But there's a lady who was asking, there's two hands that side. As we continue.
Okay, my name is Kenyati from Construction Industry Federation of Zimbabwe. Mine is rather an appeal. I have noticed that most of the plans, they involve construction. Hence, my appeal is to support the local contractors. We have got civil construction companies, we have got building, we have got suppliers, electrical, you name it, as far as construction is involved. Try ilizwe like ngabanikazi. Besicela isupport iqalise ekhaya. Ama local contractors ebe empowered akhule. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you, Siyabonga.
Ngiyabonga, mina Utomoyo from Bulawayo Provincial Council. Angazi maybe ngizawukhuluma usisi uzabona ni crash point yakhe, but ngicabangene engakakhulumi. I support a point, mele support ama local companies ethu. I was looking at the financial strategies for implementing this master plan. What measures have we put to market it to the diaspora? Siyawazi ngobulawa sabantwana abaningi in South Africa, in the UK, who are sitting on a lot of capital. How can they access this master plan so that we show them the opportunities that are there back home, bengasaleli phandle? Ngiyabonga.
Thank you, sir. I'll invite our town clerk.
Okay. There are 4 questions, and the gentleman says the development is slow in Zimbabwe. Why don't you consider reducing the prices of states? My brother, our states in Bulawayo are so cheap. And for you residents of Bulawayo, take up these stands that are there now, because these stands are open for everyone. Outside Bulawayo, for everyone in Zimbabwe, for everyone in the world, because we desire to have Bulawayo as the destination of everyone. So stands are extremely cheap. If you go and look at Mahachula and the way that site was developed, is first class. The stands are very cheap. I tell you, if you were to go to other local authorities for the similar stands, you can't buy them. They could be even 3 times as much. Stands are cheap. Yesterday, I met people who were waiting for me when I was outside the country because there was an article in the newspaper to say stands are very expensive in Bulawayo. I said they are not expensive. It's the way you see it, but the actual fact is stands are very cheap. We have there is no way as a local authority we can reduce the stands, because the money in most cases that is used for the development of stands may not be ours. In any case, in the development of stands these days, we don't have capacity ourselves. We avail land to private developers who, when after developing, they then sell to the need on the waiting list, and then we get the intrinsic value. It's a business a transaction, my brother, reducing the price. Not for now, maybe in future. And now you also spoke about the population in Bulawayo, which is seemingly very low. Yes, it's a cause for concern, because if you do business, you really need numbers. It doesn't also follow to say that the numbers are not there. We have a lot of people who are sitting in Johannesburg and other cities in South Africa. We have got a population of over 3 million people in South Africa. We have got a population of over 500,000 in the UK and the other Western cities. People now want to come back to Bulawayo. And there's always been some inquiries as to how they can access housing units because they want to come back home. Now, what we are planning to do is to seriously engage the diaspora. Initially, when they were talking about such engagement, we were advising them to form cooperatives or to pool their funds together, so that they will come to us with some money. Then we would help them because we would make the land available. There was one other such scheme that they started, but in no time they started quarreling over money. And now they are saying we cannot start it by ourselves. People are greedy. We want the local authority to be in the center stage to make sure that we pull our funds together. We are going to do this. To do this, we have suggested that we should first of all do the diaspora policy for the city, so that we know how exactly we are going to be in the thick of things, how we are going to organize this. But we have been delayed in the development of the city diaspora policy because there is a national one which is being developed. We want the national one to be done, and then we can copy from there, take what the city can take from that policy. We cannot ignore our diaspora. Those are our people. We come back, and if we put the right policies, they will come back. We will have the numbers that are required. And also, let me challenge the business community that other than the infrastructure such as factories or industries, which is there, which is not, of course, operating at full throttle. Housing, we have a very big shortfall in housing. That is the area where we must concentrate on. let's build houses so that we create a bigger population, so that we create business. And our housing waiting list stands over 140,000. You can see there is a market for housing. Now, the other lady spoke about the local contractors that we are not supporting. We are supporting them. We are supporting our local contractors. When we are talking of business, we cannot talk about investment, foreign direct investment, without first talking about local investment. The problem is, of course, we are operating within a certain framework, within the laws of the country, that we advertise. And our people must learn how to deal with tenders. And it is our duty, of course, as a local authority, to educate our local contractors, to educate our local contractors on how to deal with these tenders. In fact, we have even come up with a policy to say if there is a tender, if our local company loses by a certain margin, we can actually catapult them to the first place. We have got an affirmative action to support the industry. So please, let's work together in supporting the local industry before we can invite other players from outside the city. And then how we are marketing our master plan. I've spoken a lot, this is your area of responsibility, my brother. We'll finish up on this one.
Thank you, Town Clerk Nyabonga. Thank you, Town Clerk. Like maybe just to add to what the Town Clerk was saying pertaining to the prices. As a city, we are one of the few cities that have got a land bank. That we have got a land bank, the land that belongs to Bulawayo City Council. And this land bank, as we pick from it, we need to add. So what we are doing is, the intrinsic value that he referred to, we want to use that to buy more land for the future and for the unborn. So we did advertise, I think not so long, beginning of this year, where we're advertising saying, we want those that are selling land within Bulawayo City Council, we want within Bulawayo City area, and also even outside, we want to buy that land within our environment. So we need that intrinsic value so as to buy the land, and so that at least it will be used by ourselves and the unborn. So that land bank is very critical that we must have. Then the marketing of the master plan. I think we have done a presentation on the opportunities for the master plan to the South African diasporians. We have done that presentation. We did that presentation, it was virtually, and we have been getting a lot of feedback, and we are also interacting with them through our public relations. So we're working with them, and if there are any platforms that people have, or any platforms that you can assist us, we are there and very ready to go and popularize our master plan so that we get investors and we also get people to put those things. Then you also, well, I had answered the question, but maybe to say that all our layout plans, once they are done, we circulate to all service organizations. So we expect them to give us the feedback, the land requirements, because it will be a draft. And if there's need for more land than the servitudes that would have left, then we can pick it up from there. I thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Haley, actually.
Thank you very much, Councillor Selby. Please allow me to acknowledge the resident minister. I think further to the question, sorry, my name is Harry Siheri. I'm a member of the Bulawayo Business Forum. So there was a question as regards the funding source, which was looking primarily at the diaspora. But I would just like to also share that if you look at the bulk of the developments that are happening in Harare, it's actually not diaspora money. It's local money which is coming from Zimbabwe. For those that like looking at the numbers, you will see that there was a growth in terms of the amount of money which was held by pension funds. I think last year it grew by about $270 million. If you look at the total deposits currently sitting in the banks, it's $1.8 billion. So the question is to say, how can we then attract that money to come through to Bulawayo? And I think I'm so happy that the Bulawayo City Council invited us, members of the business community, because we've also reached out to members within our constitution or our community. You'd find that some of the entities that are doing those projects, like your Highland Parks, your showground malls, they're actually here in this room as we speak, because they do have access to those funds. So going forward, I think we shall also be consulting with the members to also then try and also have an investors conference, the first ever for Bulawayo, with the view to also try and provide more disclosure in terms of the plans that have been outlaid. Because once we get attuned to the plans of the council, ourselves as members in the business community will also then follow suit and plan accordingly. So thank you very much for the opportunity to partner, and I'm sure we'll be working together.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Harry. I think we'll take probably going to the last round. If you still have a question, comment. I see one hand, two. This will be the last round. So if you do have something that is burning, we will share the presentation. So please make sure that you registered. Thank you very much.
Salvanani, Mini Kamala Musanele Moyo from Climate Preneur. Is it in line with the urban forest policy? And as I know, strategies, implementation strategies,
Siyabonga baba ezemvelo akulezi izandla lesiye ngapha.
Good afternoon. My name is Divine. I come from Oceans Foods. We are a local supermarket. My question will be linked to what is the plan in relation to what's happening by Fifth Avenue. We have, of course, informal traders that are probably taking a good share of the market. We're talking about the 50,000 population. They're eating into that. We don't want to shut them away, but we're asking the authorities what regulatory measures that have been taken to accommodate them in a manner that is hygienic and in a manner that will bring out a smart city as we are talking about. Then point number 2 is I'm tempted to ask about the status of the terminus, Egodini terminus. What's happening there, and are we going to see the commuter omnibuses that are in town or in the bigger chunk of the CBD moving to that part of town, as it were, anytime soon? What is the plan in relation to the broader master plan? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there another hand? Any other comments? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last round, so we'll ask our town clerk to respond. Siamo.
Thank you, Madam Mrs. Spokesman and the Honorable Minister. Only the question of Ezemvelo, Mr. Siziba did mention Inwala site, Ezemvelo. Of course, as a master plan, we are talking of broad concepts. We are not deep into those implementation plans. It will come, but I can safely say, in Wala side, we are heavily involved with our indunas in the Midlands and Matebelele on how they want the development of that place. Because that place is very big and there's prime land in the city. It cannot remain in that state. It has to be developed. But we want to develop it in a way that does not offend those people whom we consider cultural stakeholders. We would want maybe to have something similar to Onongoma, if you are aware of this site that I'm talking about. There are so many of those in South Africa. We are not going to reinvent the wheel. We may have to just copy from our brothers down south. And I want also to bring to the knowledge of all of us here that the site has been recognized as a national heritage site. And as such, all those developments have to be done in that direction. Then the issue of 5 Avenue, let me put it together with the chaos at Egodini. The chaos at Egodini, of course, Egodini, it has been with us. I came here 8 years ago when it has been started, and 8 years later, it has not been completed. We saw some meaningful development last year, and with the plans that were given, we are going to see some meaningful development by the end of this year. But all the same, everything has been slow, but we are making progress. The challenge that we have at the moment was the lack of discipline among the commuter omnibuses and also of the vendors. People are used to this kind of chaos. They don't want to follow the regulations. They are breaking the regulations. And of late, we have been trying to engage to come up with a solution which is a solution for all of us. Not to say that as a local authority we are not doing anything about, we are doing something about it. But should do a solution for all of us fail, then as a local authority, as a planning authority, some of these solutions, unfortunately, will have to be forced on those who are supposed to do it. 5 Avenue, it's a mess. I wanted to say we were with the minister in other countries quite recently. And when we go out there to see what other communities, how other communities live, what other communities do, and we come back home to be greeted with this chaos, is shameful. And that cannot be allowed to continue. We are making, after the direction from the Honorable Minister in yesterday's meeting, that let's have a final negotiation with the stakeholders to come up with a solution for 5 Avenue, Egodin, and the operations of commuter omnibuses and the vendors themselves. So that situation needs to be arrested as a matter of urgency. And that situation cannot only be corrected by the provincial government and the local authority, but it requires the input or the contribution of all of us who have got the interest of Bulawayo at heart. Thank you very much. I don't know, Siziba, do you have anything to say?
Maybe just to add from a colleague who was asking pertaining ezemvelo, that in our presentation we were also summarizing some of the issues because some of the goals are there, because we have got a chapter which is goal F that deal with to develop Bulawayo into an environmentally conscious and environmentally sustainable city, which we detail ukuthi ezemvelo ziyabanjwa kanjani. So we've got also the environmental strategy in our document, the written statement, which I think we will be able to share so that at least they pick it up. And even if you look at our master plan, ezemvelo, the town clerk did talk to Inwala site and so forth ngezemvelo, and also ezinye ze green. Singakhangela lokho esibona kuyi green kukhanya khona phana, lakho kukhangela izihlahla nje lokunye, which also we've got those strategies in our document. And the one of the thematic areas that we have is on ezemvelo, ukuthi the department concerned is also working on a strategy ukuthi izihlahla ziyabanjwa kanjani, kuyahlanyelwa kanjani, kulandelwe emgwaqweni and so forth. That is being worked on. So if we look at that green, we look at what the town clerk was saying, and we also look at even the tourism, the trails esilazo khonapha City of Bulawayo. We've got those things. So we share this document.
Thank you, Mr. Sizima. Ladies and gentlemen, we continue the program. Allow me to request our town clerk, Mr. Dube, to kindly request our Honorable Minister to say a few words.
Thank you, Madam Events Director. Honorable Minister, Madam, we have done justice to this conversation, and as we go closer to the end of this conversation, it will be really befitting to ask the Honorable Minister of State and Devolution to have a say on the conversation and maybe give guidance on the direction in which this province may have to take together with the local authority. Over to you, Madam. Thank you.
Ngiyabonga TC. Once again, a very good afternoon to us all. Thank you, Engineer Cecilia, for the presentation. There has to be some form of buy-in from the residents. But if you leave them out of the process, it won't work. We won't get results that are expected by the residents. I am so grateful, Town Clerk, that you saw it fit to have this type of a meeting so that there is a buy-in. Lama contributions, they are very critical. Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you add that? Why can't we think of Inwala grounds? As we were visiting together with Ubaba UTC, Ubaba Uswanda, Owe Healthy, Ubaba Utility, Engineer, as we're touring this country, we learned a lot. And we were taking stock of ourselves. Where do we miss the mark? How best can we improve? Given this situation, given the presentation that has just been given to us a master plan. Let's have that vision eka Bulawayo esimfunayo. Do we want to continue the chaotic approach within a city center? If not, let's have some suggestions from our residents, because Bulawayo ngowenu. Let's sit down, let's discuss, let's engage each other as a way forward so that we improve. We recently, 2 weeks or so back, I was in Harare. When I was looking at the city center in Harare, I said to myself, benze njani sebehlanyele lama-flowers along ama-streets abo. How did they do it? Probably they sat down and discussed and agreed on a way forward. This is what we want njengoBulawayo. Once again, Engineer Siziba, with your team, and thank you so much for the job well done. But there is a lot to be done. As we are discussing some of the boundaries, you need to quickly engage the neighboring municipalities, because some of the boundaries you have to think ngobulawayo, only to be told to go to no. Lapho ususe much north. Now ufika ngombokodo laphana uyatshela ukuthi hayi phela lapha icholo. So these are some of the issues asakheni uBulawayo esimfunayo, asakheni lizwe esilifunayo. With these few words, I want to thank you so much njengezakhamizi banikazi bedorobha. Need to thank our city fathers and city mothers. Need to thank the management. Thank senior government officers, abalapha, media. Ngabe kufake kuhle abantu they will understand the master plan yethu. Ngabe lama suggestions babathisi abantu they are free to come ukuthi yebo ye thina sibe singezwanga ukuthi kuza kuba le stakeholder meeting. Mina bengicabanga ukuthi li-edelela lokho. I think people are free ukuthi bethi give suggestions ukuze siyeni phambili ngelizwe lethu. As we're touring one of the museum lapho besikhona, we learned a lot. Quickly ngacabanga outside the city hall kule wishing well kaLobhengula. It has to be preserved. Ipride emangalisayo kwamanye amazwe ukuthi they still collect izinto zonke zenezi eziqhakathekileyo. 16th century abantu lokho bedobhadobha lokho balamatshe okuchola, they showcase izinto zabo. Why not with us? Why not with us? Thanda ukuthi ngibonge Bulawayo umhle. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for calling us to unity of purpose and good Siaki of Bulawayo. Please allow me to invite our chairperson of the Town Lands and Planning Committee, Councillor Dineta, as he pay a vote of thanks. May we welcome him with the hand of applause, please.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony. Ntambama ngiyasehlisa. Ngisithoba njalo ngilethe ukubonga kakhulu u-Honorable Minister, u-Resident Minister wethu. Nama-councillors akhona phakathi kwethu. Le business community. Nani lonke zakhamuzi ezikhona phakathi kwale inkundla. Ngithanda ukulibonga kakhulu. I would like to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to attend today's meeting on the Bulawayo Master Plan. Your presence here today demonstrates your commitment to our city's future and your willingness to contribute to its growth and development. Bulawayo muhle abantu bakithi. It's a city engadevelopa ibe nkulu kakhulu, but it needs people, a united people, a people with a sense of purpose. To know we want to change the face of Bulawayo. As I continue, we appreciate your interest, enthusiasm, and dedication to making Bulawayo a better place for all. Thank you for your active participation through thoughtful questions and valuable insights. Like imbonga kakhulu mama ngendlela akhulume ngakhona ukuthi hayi singatshela ama-resident bebekwazi ukuthi nxa sikhuluma nge-master plan sithini, kube le-acceptance, kube le-understanding. uBulawayo shamakha kuhle. Let us continue to work together to turn the vision of Bulawayo Master Plan into a reality. Thank you once again for your attendance and participation. Siyabonga, tinotenda, twalumba, danki, baya danki, siyabonga kakhulu, inkosi ngikutsisi.
Siyabonga, baya danki. Siyabonga kakhulu, our chairperson of town planning. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We've come to the end of our meeting. Please do follow us on our social media pages where you will be updated of various activities that are taking place in the city, as well as issues relating to service delivery. I want to thank you all for coming. Siyabonga kakhulu. Nkulunkulu Musi sizacela uCouncillor Gumede esibhalele ngomthandazo. Ngiyabonga. Cela simqhubele i-microphone.
Asibonge amakhanda asibonge inkosi. Baba wethu sezulwini lalapha emhlabeni. Ngalimini enhle Jehova siletha udumo kuwena. Nkosi yami siyazi ukuthi umhlangano uqala. Sikwenyusile baba ukuba ube lathi. Nkosi yami lapho kade ukhona wena Jehova. Ngiyazi bonke okuthe kwabanjwa kule ndawo akubanga liphutha komunye lomunye. Nkosi yami lapho wena usanjalo. Umana ungene enhliziyweni zabantu abakho baba. Simletha uBulawayo kuwe baba. Jesu ndodana kaDavida. Nanti idolobho leli. Nkosi yami omunye lomunye kathi ukuphakama kule ndawo ephethe uBulawayo enhliziyweni. Nkosi yami kungabi khona ukuziphakamisa, kungabi khona ukusolana, kungabi khona Jehova. Khona Nkosi yami ubumina. Ngicela Nkosi yami kube lokuthandana. Ukuze siyakhe uBulawayo kumele kube lothando, lokuhloniphana, lokwazisana Jehova. Ngoba Nkosi yami wena lapho okungekho khona lezo zinto, wena Nkosi yami wenelisi ukuthi sifinyelele. Awenelisi baba ukuthi konke lokho esingabe sikhala ngakho usifezele. Nakho baba ngiyabaletha abantu abakho ngalesi sikhathi eminenhle ukuba nasebeyathi ukuphakama, zona inyawo zithe ukuphakama zifinyelele kule ndawo. Nkosi yami celisa ubusise ubakhokhelele Nkosi yami, usikhokhelele sonke siyehlangana lezimuli zethu, kodwa siloBulawayo enhliziyweni ukubana uBulawayo athuthuke, ukubana uBulawayo abe lidolobho elihle. Ngikuchiya kwezakho izandla ezingcwele ngoJesu Kristu umfeli wethu. Ngiyabonga baba. Amen.
Siyabonga. Ladies and gentlemen, siyabonga. Our mayor couldn't be with us. He's attending a funeral. Thank you very much for coming. Sibonge kakhulu. I think Mr. Siziba and the team are still here. Nxa sifuna ukubuza anything, but I'll also allow our town clerk and our dignitaries to please proceed. Nxa befuna ukusukuma. Siyabonga kakhulu. Please make sure you give us your email address. We'll be having a lot more of these engagements. Ukuthi siyenelise ukuthi silitshengise ukuthi idolobho liyenzani. We can stand and acknowledge our minister as she lives. Siyabonga. The good thing about the master plans is that as you do your own planning for the business, you can see where you fit in. You can see your piece of cake. So, thank you.